Hey there, back for another episode of the Leander Scoop podcast. I'm here with Greg Parma, the owner of Williamson Tax and Bookkeeping. Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me, TJ. I'm super excited to be here. I'm doing good.
Awesome. Well, I'm stoked to have you. First, tell us a little bit about you and your background, and what part of town you're in, and when you got here, things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. The origin story. Hopefully, it's not a villain origin story. No, I'm joking. It's yeah. So I'm by way of the Dallas area. I grew up in a small town called Ennis, Texas, that nobody has heard of. It's about 10 miles from Waxahachie, which everybody knows because of the name. Met my wife in college. I was about to graduate. She said move to Austin because she's from here. She's one of the unicorns
Okay.
that grew up here. Her parents were from here, and anyway, so I reluctantly did, and now we're married and have a couple kids. We live in Liberty Hill now, but lived in Austin for 15 years or so. Excuse me. I grew up, I grew up in my dad's tax firm, so that's kind of how all this started, and not because I got paid because I lived there. And he's like, "You're going to do this." I was like, "Thanks, Dad." Hated it, right? So anyway, went to school, loved the business world, and a professor told me accounting is the language of business. So I kind of got hooked, unfortunately. And we ended up getting an MBA in corporate finance, worked in the likes of Whole Foods headquarters, United Technologies, doing some what we call FP&A work, corporate finance work. And then, that led to cool things. We sold some companies, and I ended up, being CFO of a company here in Austin, turned around and sold it, went on to raise money in startups, tens of millions of dollars as, CFO, COO role, and then worked in private equity support in the middle market, being a board advisor, sitting in the CFO seat, helping CFOs work and run the companies and, make deals ultimately. Up until I kind of, things go full circle. It's like, this is soulless and life sucking. So ended up opening up my own shop, Williamson Tax and Bookkeeping. Now we really focus on more of the helping clients build the business of their dreams, CFO work, forecasting, looking forward part of their business. So not just bookkeeping, beyond bookkeeping. And then we also, pay for ourselves through tax strategy. So we help them grow business and then keep the tax dollars in their pocket. Right. So taking all the things that I learned in a more, corporate environment or, M&A heavy environment and applying that to local business owners here, they don't usually get that sort of value. They're always, chasing the compliance work, and that's table stakes. So we like to say we help them build the business that they dream of. Right. And they keep the dollars in their pocket while they do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
As somebody who has had businesses and is semi-familiar with what you're describing, but not perfectly, tell me how it like normally works. Because the way I think about it is the space you're in, it's like, okay, well, I'm a bookkeeper and like, that's what I do. Or, hey, I process your taxes, but that, I'm basically a paperwork filer. Tell me about what you're doing and kind of how that's different from what the norm is.
Yeah. Those things that you're describing are table stakes for us. That is the core bare minimum. What we do is then we're looking forward. So on the business side, we're creating KPIs. We're trying to understand the business fundamentally to help the business owner take it to the next level, whatever that is for them. That could be, double and grow, grow or double, triple. That could be sell. That could be turn it down if they're in a later stage, whatever that is. But get it to the point where they're not the one doing number one, doing all the work. And number two, they can sustain a profit out of it. So we create processes and systems, not necessarily operationally. We advise on what we see across industries and across businesses to do that, to where as much as possible, the business prints the check to the owner, right? So then you say we do bookkeeping, yes, but we then create the metrics to chase. We work with business coaches, we'll work with marketing coaches, we'll work with marketing firms, try to help them increase their revenue, increase their profitability. Then on the other side, we're filing taxes, of course. We do those things because number one, they need to be done. But number two, we're taking that and we're saying, okay, June of this year, where are you going to finish the year? Are you going to be net down in cash, net up in profit, depending on what's happening in the business? And we're looking at ways to then reduce the tax liability. Or maybe you're buying a house, right? You don't want to necessarily reduce your tax liability if you're going to go get a big loan or, get a loan for a commercial property. So we're applying all these things that are happening. None of it's groundbreaking. None of it is, aha, new. It's just applying their situation in a way that is most advantageous. Then trying to do that year after year to get to the ultimate end goal for the client. So it's like I said, it's not fancy, it's gritty work, but it's the work that most people aren't doing, right?
Well,
So the bookkeeper's not doing it, and the tax compliance person's not doing it, but we take a little bit extra time to make sure we put a plan in place to get to those.
But it's funny the way you're saying that, like, because I hear about this problem all the time, which is my people, like, really the way to think about it is they don't care because it's like, it's not their role. It's like, well, I'm a bookkeeper. My job is to just do the paperwork. I'm a tax guy. My role is just to do this. Nobody's actually looking out for, hey, business owner, because of this much revenue you have, or because of this, like, you should plan on doing this. And that's like the most important piece.
Yeah, you're spot on. A lot of, like, I say it in several different analogies, but it's essentially, it comes down to the client wants X, Y, and Z, but bookkeepers give them X. Tax filers give them X. They don't give them the Y and the Z. So expectations aren't being met. And the clients are saying, hey, help me. And the professionals go, I don't do those things. That's where we come in. We do those things that the clients are expecting, the next level stuff. And they think it's, normal, or it should happen all the time, but it's not in scope for what those firms do. So the firms just don't provide those services, and the clients really need them. And so we solve for that. Right? I go, okay, yeah, not just file my taxes. Clients are saying, how should I handle these situations? Or can you advise me on, how I can go buy, a commercial property or 10 more residential real estate investment properties? We help them put a plan together to go do that financially.
I mean, this is incredible. This is exactly what I think most business owners need, right? I know I had a business with 8 employees, and like, this is the kind of thing that I wanted, and I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Do you tell me if maybe I'm wrong about this, but what I hear about a lot in business circles is, when you have somebody who's just traditional, like what we said before, and then all of a sudden you take your books or your numbers to somebody like you, and then you look at it and you go, well, did he tell you if you do this, like, you to save 30 grand on your taxes, or you could have planned this 2 years in advance and you would have not had this liability, 6-figure liability? Like,
here's a good bombshell for a lot of folks. It's exactly what you're talking about. There's a thing called QSBS, and it's, if you make yourself a C corporation and hold that C corporation for 5 years, you can get up to there's a threshold, but you can get up to a certain amount of gains when you sell your company at 0% tax. Yeah. So at 10, but yes, but it's little things like that. We see it all the time. I had a buddy, and he sold his company for like $20 million. And he was asking me what he could do. And we started talking about sovereign tax credits and some really advanced things. Right. But it's because he wasn't advised years before on how he should think about, and, maybe he didn't want to deal with the C Corp double taxation. Of course, that's part of, we have playbooks, and that's one thing we do. And no matter what, if you're going to sell their business or not, but the point is, nobody told him. Right. And like, I think that's what's missing, is like, at least have the conversation. We hold tax strategy sessions. We can do full blown tax planning presentations. And that's a whole nother thing, but we do have tax strategy session with our clients every year.
Yeah.
Right. We want to know where you're going. We can help you get there. Right. Like, we want to help. And if we don't know, we can't help.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your clients, your client base, like location. Yeah. Absolutely.
So more than half of our business is in the Central Texas area. We do have quite a few clients in the DFW area in Texas, and then some nationwide clients that they moved. Like, we had clients move to Hawaii, so we have Hawaii clients. That's cool. But most of our business is here in Central Texas, the North Austin, Liberty Hill, Leander, Cedar Park area. In Georgetown, we have an office in Georgetown, an office in Leander, where we meet clients from time to time. But we mostly work virtually. We have all the software and tools to handle that, to make it really easy. Our portal has a mobile app, so our clients, tend to like that, especially the younger ones. They can literally, if they get a document, they can just take the mobile app and use it as a PDF scanner, things like that. And then we have beyond that, we have a team spread out. So we have a team of 6. It's not just me. If I go croak tomorrow, you're not, our clients aren't in a world of trouble. So we have me, an ops manager here in the Leander area, excuse me. And then we have 3 other people scattered across Texas virtually. And then we have a team of bookkeepers in the Philippines, which allows us to keep our costs down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. What is there any type of business that you specialize in, or maybe it's more ones you don't, or how do you think about who's an ideal client?
Yeah, it's a good question. Um, we can support anyone, but that doesn't help, folks. We have a lot of professional services, software companies, trades, that sort of thing. Typically, the business owners, number one, who value their time and want to really grow their business is really what we say. So I've worked in aerospace manufacturing. I've raised tens of millions in software. I've bought and sold plenty of services companies. I understand those quite well. I think services, trades, professional services, we have a lot of lawyers. But I think of it a little bit differently. It's more like people who really value their time and they really want to delegate and grow their business. We can be the partner for them. We also are super connected across the community. We have great bankers, business coaches, lawyer relationships, financial advisor relationships, and we can support them build a team. So I always talk about a village, right? Like we are a part of that village and we want to be a part of that village. We can also connect you with other village members that can solve problems for the business. And I think that's something super neat about us. We're always trying to find the way, that one missing piece for our clients to solve it, but they have to want it. So the folks who have businesses that go, oh, I don't care about that, or I'll just give that to my whatever. Those, we can't really help them because they don't want to be helped in the way that we can work and we can create the value for them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a ton of sense. Are there any challenges in your business right now I know, as we're talking, there's just been a lot of change, in, national politics, but even more maybe on the economic side of how things have gone over the last 12, 18 months. Anything stand out, specific challenges?
Yeah, I think the uncertainty. I think this is across the board, and probably in your business as well. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it's how things are going to play out. We're seeing positive upticks in that side. A lot of folks are starting to make investments, which is really cool. We haven't seen in a few years, and that uncertainty I think it's starting to lift. But that's the biggest one. On the tax side, excuse me, I'm still getting over sickness like everybody else is. But on the tax side, I think it's more of what's going to happen through this new agenda administration. What are they going to do and lift the tax cuts or not? So I think people are still kind of waiting, but we're starting to see investments being made. Once that uncertainty lifts, I think it's going to be extremely prosperous. I think there's a lot of pent up demand for investment, and especially in our communities. It's insane. I'm sure you see the same thing on your side, with people trying to market and grow their business. And I think once that happens, we'll see a ton of activity. And then I think a lot of people will then be trying to figure out what to do. How do I reduce my taxes? How do I make more money? How do I increase my, and grow and increase my business and that sort of thing. But I don't see, on the tax side, most of our clients come to us and say, hey, what can I do? Right? And I'm like, you can do anything, right? You can do whatever. But you should have a plan in what you believe in, what you're passionate about. Go do that. And then we can help steer and guide you. I think those are the biggest problems, is so much opportunity, and then how to deal with this political uncertainty.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there anything that jumps out at you as kind of something quick and valuable for business owners that most aren't thinking about? For example, you mentioned QSBS. The other one that jumps to mind, and again, I'm happy to hear your opinion, pro or con,
Sure.
but is God, I can't remember the section, whatever, but the 6,000 pound rule for your car. Is there any of these kind of things that most people maybe it's possible they're just not aware of, that they should at least look into? Not that we're saying they should do it, of course not, but might be worth looking into?
It's a good question. It depends on situations. Of course, the joke that we have is all of our clients are very special, but they're not very unique, right? They follow the same situations. It's the main things that we often see are when people go through extreme growth, is how to navigate the growth. So things like S corporations, and a lot of people see this, S corporations, but what they aren't doing are accountable plans within their S corporation, right? They're also not compliant, so they need to do the things to be compliant. Those are easy wins, like having annual shareholder meetings, having policies for the corporation, and paying themselves what's called reasonable compensation. Those are little wins that they can do. Vehicles are a great way. A lot of times through that accountable plan, we can write off mileage. Deduct mileage. Mileage is oftentimes much better than having a depreciation of a vehicle, especially with the way the tax cuts are rolling now. You can only take so much percentage of that in the first year. I think for more high net worth people, defined benefit plans and cash balance plans are a huge opportunity. We see it across the board. Most people don't know what these are. It's a form of retirement plan, and we can work with financial advisors to help solve for that. This is big time winnings. I mean, huge. You're growing your wealth, and it's deductible. You can include some life insurance opportunities in there as well. I think it's phenomenally huge, and I think more people need to look at this. We can definitely help. I mean, when I say big, I mean hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings.
Yeah. Let's actually hit on this real quick, because I come from the insurance business, and there's a lot of misconceptions, or really it's just there's different angles of life insurance. And you did mention that, because I do know some very, very high net worth people here in Austin, and they talk about the life insurance of just at the base level of basically you can borrow from yourself, right? Is that what they call the infinite banking?
Excuse me. Essentially, yeah. There's levels to that, of course, but essentially that's what it comes down to. Is you want to be able to take a certain number of deductions and then be able to use insurance to then fund other things in your life. We don't go as that aggressive typically, but there are some in our playbook. There are some more aggressive tactics to take. It requires a level of compliance that most people just don't want to do. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. Typically, but yeah, all of those things we touch on those. That's when we get into major tax planning. We lay out opportunities, how much value is available, what it's going to take to do it, and then each of the implementation steps to take it for. So when it comes to insurance, we obviously bring in insurance folks. We bring in financial advisors. This is not, again, it takes a village. This is not something we typically want to do on our own. We're not a wealth management firm in that way. Excuse me. And sometimes, the wealth management firms don't do the things that we do. So we partner with them as well. And we like to have a team around our clients so they can solve bigger problems. And it's the same adage, right? You can go fast by yourself, but you can go far with the team. We believe it. So we bring in the right people to do that.
Yeah. And that sounds incredibly valuable too. Just the fact that you have the relationships with these other folks, which streamlines everything for your clients, right? Instead of, we don't do that. Go Google it. And then you just got these different parties who've never met. They don't talk to each other. That sounds like a nightmare.
Absolutely. It is a nightmare. You don't know who to trust, right? So we bring that credibility, and we can quickly say we've done the same activity, 30 times before, or depending on the situation. And that you can have somebody you can trust, and that we can explain it and lay it all out there. And if our clients don't decide to do it, that's totally fine. Like it's not really an issue for us. It's what works best for them. So they have all the information, they can make a decision.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's great. So Greg, let's talk a little bit about the area. So you said you live in Liberty Hill. How long did you say you've been here?
So we've owned property here since 2010. Small little acreage. It's all relative. At the time, you don't know what's going to happen, right? So, but my wife really liked the community of Santa Rita Ranch. We were looking around. We've known about Liberty Hill for a while. We've been in the community. We've been in and around Leander and Cedar Park, for long. We were in Avery Ranch before, so we were up here a lot. She really liked the schools in the area. We love Leander schools, and we love Liberty Hill schools. And so when it came time, she wanted to move to Santa Rita Ranch. So that's where we live now.
Nice. That's awesome. So yeah, tell me about what you love up here, whether Liberty Hill, Santa Rita, just the general Leander-ish area.
Well, first and foremost, the people here are phenomenal. I know there's a lot of folks that have moved here from other places, and they keeping up with the community and trying to uphold that core community value, I think is super cool. So I love the people here. I think that's you don't get that in other communities, and so we like to, number one, meet people. We're all people oriented and relationship oriented. I think some of our best friends we've met since being up here. We moved here in 2020. Right in the heat of COVID, which was interesting. But the business owners, the business community is phenomenal. There's a bunch of awesome people in here in this area. And then I'm a foodie, so I like I think this Austin Metro is like a mecca for food and drink and the things. places like, if you go down to Cedar Park, Sweetwater's phenomenal. Georgetown City Post is phenomenal. I remember when Mouton's, we went to Mouton's for the first time and had their food. That was great. And then the newer, I say newer, maybe in the last few years, the places like, little spots like Leanderthal and Obsidian and Fifth Element, right? Like those places are super neat in the area. Where do you go? Where do you see?
Where do I go? I'm not so much a foodie, although I do love to go out. I'm just not as picky. Didn't grow up being that way, so I've kind of kept it. Let's see what are my favorites. So we love Blue Corn Harvest, really good one. And they're like perfect for the area, right? They have Cedar Park, they have Leander. I think they have one in Georgetown. I think they even opened one in Round Rock. So they've got our general area all covered, which is great. I also am a big fan of Jack Allen's, the one in Cedar Park there.
Yeah.
Love that. And the one that I really liked, I don't know if it's truly local or not, but it's very casual, but for some reason I've just fallen in love with it. It's Tumble 22.
Chicken spot. They're I think they're a franchise. Yeah. It's a good spot.
Yeah. So I really love that one. But yeah, so what would you say is your favorite spot out of those? Or maybe not just your favorite, but what about the newer ones like have you been to 54 yet? I guess that would be a good question. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm missing this.
Yeah, 54 is the brewery restaurant on what is it, on New Hope and the 183. So it just opened 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I haven't been. Yeah, we'll go. We have a volleyball tournament for my daughter this weekend, and then we'll check it out after that. That'll be sweet. Yeah,
it's got the pickleball courts outside.
Right on.
Which is awesome.
It's so funny, dude. My kids wanted to play, and I saw these people play, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And so I put it off, and I told my kids, like, no, y'all go play. I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon, right? Because I'm like, traditionalist and all things. And so, like, I don't want to follow the bandwagon because I'm still a Cowboys fan, even though they suck and all the things. But so I hold true to my teams and my and the things that I believe in. So I was like, I'm not gonna do it. So then I go and play with my son the first time, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is phenomenally awesome. We're gonna go. And so it just, I was wrong, and it was great. It's so cool.
It really is. It's so great, and especially when it can be at a fun place where you can do more than just pickleball. That's why a lot of these places are popping up, right? The other one is the Crossover. They have kind of the outdoor restaurant plus pickleball there, so you can kind of incorporate multiple things, like kind of a fun afternoon, right? Like go to a restaurant, have a drink, play pickleball. They have a bunch of bag games at the new 54 as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the Crossover has the kids' playground. How old are your kids?
13 and 11.
Okay, so you might be a bit past that stage, but mine are 5 and 8.
So we go to the Crossover. Yeah, my son does some stuff at the Crossover every other week. Just some athletic training and such. So we're there. And my daughter's big into volleyball, so we're all over the place for that. But they're competitive. So if it's anything, if we're thumping paper footballs, they're going to try to win, right? Yeah. So they'll go anywhere, and there's a game, we're going to compete, right? So
nice. Have you gone there? You said you're a Cowboys fan. I was going to say, where are the great spots to watch a football game?
For the Cowboys, nowhere.
Yeah, okay. Maybe football in general.
Yeah, no. I think any of the local spots are cool. Like I live in Liberty Hill, so I'm partial, but Hell or High Water, Liberty Hill or Bear Market, those are some cool spots. I don't fancy the Chili's. I'm not that guy, right? So I'm not going to do that. But any of the local dives are super cool up here in this area. In Leander, I don't make it down that far too much because the whole driving thing. We like to be responsible. But I do like the local breweries there. I think they're doing a great job. Mm-hmm. So I would go chill there and hang out. They make some great beer.
Like
Whitestone. They're great. Fifth Element's good. Obsidian's great. Those places like that. That's where I'd go chill if it were me.
Nice. I still want to watch a game at the Crossover when they have the big giant screen outside. Mm-hmm. Every game I wanted to go to, it was like 50 degrees or less, and I just couldn't do it. But one of these days, it's gonna be nice weather, and I'm gonna watch a game there.
Yeah, no kidding. Maybe they need to change football season. Well, I guess September football would be nice.
I wasn't paying attention at the time, and then all of a sudden, I went to ASU, so this was the year that they started getting good. I don't know if they would have played it there, but Oh yeah, they did because yeah, I was going to go. ASU played Texas in the playoff, and I wanted to go to the crossover, but it was like 40 degrees or something, so I had to go.
Yeah, I was trying to go with my buddy. He invited me at the crossover. They have some comedy shows apparently
Yeah,
up there. Yeah,
yeah,
those are supposed to be great. Like they have good comics that come through there.
yep.
I haven't, usually he's like, hey, let's go check it out, and I'm like, oh, I got a kids thing that because they're at that age. But I've been wanting to go check those out. I think it's supposed to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
fun.
definitely. They've got some great events there. Absolutely. So another quick question about local. What are your thoughts? You're in Liberty Hill, Santa Rita, like me, but even just for the area in general, Leander especially. Cedar Park has its own Costco already, but Costco supposedly is essentially confirmed to be going in Liberty Hill. Curious your thoughts.
I won't say too much because I've served on the Liberty Hill Economic Development Corporation
Oh,
board.
okay. There you
And I
go.
currently serve on the Liberty Hill Chamber of Commerce board.
Okay.
So
Nice.
I won't say too much. I think that the general consensus is I think these things are going to happen, right? Like you look at the community and it has a fairly high level of discretionary income, per capita compared to normal Central Texas or even the U.S. These things are bound to happen. These businesses are going to come in and try to get their share of the market, and it's not a good or bad thing. It's what it is, and I don't think anybody can stop it, and I don't think it's going to stop. So I'm a little bit more realistic about it. I think more opportunity is always better for business, especially business owners. More commerce equals more opportunities. More competition means we have to do better and be better for our clients and our customers. And so I welcome things like that. Now, is it going to add traffic and is it going to be the prettiest thing to look at in the community? Probably not. But I think overall, serving folks out here is better. When we first moved, I grew up in a small town that took 20 minutes to go to the grocery store, and that's not enjoyable, right? It's like 30 minute drive, and so they built the new HEB over here near us,
Mhm.
and my wife was like, "Great," she hadn't experienced that before, where the grocery store wasn't 5 minute drive away; it's a mile, and I think that's I think it's going to happen, and these things are going to go. I don't know. I'm curious. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
same age or?
yeah, no, actually, yeah, well, the one interesting point I assume most people listening understand that it's on the one, they're extending the 183, right? So we basically have a freeway coming into Liberty Hill,
Oh
which
yeah.
again, I am excited about because I need to go to downtown frequently. So the ease of the ability to get
Yeah.
to downtown or get home is super valuable. And then of course, anytime you have a freeway, that brings in tons of traffic, which brings business. It's kind of like, well, okay, well, what if Costco didn't come? Like somebody's going to come. It's a freeway to the fastest growing part of the United States,
Yeah.
right? And so, of course, there's going to be a lot more development. Now, I am personally happy about this. I like having things around me. I don't come from a rural area, but I also fully respect the people who are like, hey, I moved to Liberty Hill in 2012, or especially the people maybe in the 90s or earlier. And this
Yeah.
was just a small town. We came here because we didn't want that. So I was trying to get away from that stuff. And now you're kind of, essentially being pushed out or being forced to deal with this thing that you try to get away from. So I totally understand that point 100%, but I actually think you hit it on the nose, which is that there's just no stopping this. We're in the fastest growing part of the United States. Like people are coming, which means businesses are going to come to serve those people. And
Mhm.
personally, I think Costco is a great business in a lot of ways. So I go to Cedar Park Costco at least twice a month. So I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, we're members. I think the thing to think about for folks like things change, right? And that's what it is, and it's natural, right? So we can't stop it. But if what I would say is, and I've thought about this, trying to learn from lessons of Liberty Hill or where growth happens, and if you don't like. There's gonna be a time where I'm probably not gonna want to be in the mix so much, and whatever anybody wants is what they want. But for us, we may not want to be. And if there's two highways that cross like this, probably equals some sort of economic opportunity. And so I think looking forward, you'd have to go out pretty far West Texas, or the way that the Texas economic boom is happening for the last few years and will probably continue for the next 10. You're going to have to find a way to get way out because it's so many people want to be here. It's a great place to be. Don't blame them, right? They want to come and enjoy it too. But that just means that it's just not going to be the way that it was, unfortunately.
Yeah, and some of it, I maybe you might know more than me of, with the Samsung plant going in. Yeah, that's on the was it the east side of where we are, but I'm sure there are people, the economic development coming from that. That's even though that's what is that 40-ish minutes from us, something like that. That's still going to spill over into our
Absolutely.
area, the employees who live there, and then other, there's all these businesses coming up around that business, right, to support
Correct.
the giant Samsung. Then they get the little suppliers for the same. There's all kinds of development that happens that just keeps growing, further and further. And to your point, Texas, clearly, we all know, you watch the national news and all they talk about is businesses and people coming here, right? Whether it's Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, or Austin, all of them are growing and likely going to continue to grow. And
Right.
for Austin specifically, where we are, I think is, I'm assuming, I don't know the specific numbers, but I think we're the best. We're the fastest. We're where everybody is coming. Yeah, there's growth in South Austin and west, east, whatever. But like it's the north, especially I think the northwest. I guess north central Georgetown is too. But
We may
this is
be
all this is
biased.
the area. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a great place to be. I mean, that's why we wanted to be here. We were looking at leaving Austin proper, or, North Austin, and
mhm,
I think it's a phenomenal place to be. There's some, again, like I can't speak enough to like how awesome the people here, generally, right? The people here are pretty awesome. Like the community's great, the area's great. There's very little to complain about. Most of it's extremely positive.
Well, when it comes to the people, you mentioned that earlier, and I'm glad you brought it up again because what we have found is, and again, this may just be kind of logical, but you know, you and I have both moved here in 2020, which is not that long ago, and yet it was completely different then. I remember HEB was a rumor. Is there going to be an HEB? There was no lights, whatever. It was only 4 years ago. But the point is, just in this includes Leander and some of Cedar Park and Liberty Hill, where everybody is new. Everybody has come here in the last 5 years, right?
Mhm.
And the people who came here, a lot of them came from places that they weren't super happy with. And a lot of the reasons they weren't happy is because the community angle is so poor. And this is literally our story, right? We did come from California. We're not bringing California politics. Don't worry. We came from California, and everybody, for good reason, the way that whole system is set up, everybody kind of stays to themselves. Everybody's a little weird. Everybody stays, um, and because everybody's been there for 40 years, right?
Mhm.
Like who just goes after 40 years? Like, oh, today I want to make some friends. I want to go be kind to people and build my
Mhm.
community. It's like you've been doing the same thing for 40 years. You don't care. When you move in to a place like this, you came here to build a better community, right? So you go out of your way to be kind, to make friends, to share, to build relationships, and this is what we have found 100%, and it truly is awesome. It's amazing. It's even better. I kind of figured it'd be better. I didn't realize how much better it would be.
That's cool. That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
I think being a native Texan and trying to uphold like Texan values, I think that's awesome to hear. Number one, like it hits home. But two, I think it's like that's how it ought to be, right? Or it's how it should be, right? We should all work together, help each other, try to build the badass community that we all want instead of shying away from it. So that's part of why I do the things I do, and try to serve the community in the way that I can help. It's a business angle, but that's how I can help, right? So if we all pick the thing that we can help,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
I
so
think.
cool to hear you're on the what did you say you're on in Liberty Hill? The chamber board and what else?
I served prior on the EDC board, the
Okay.
Economic Development Board. I currently serve on the chamber board, and I'm a mentor at the Liberty Hill High School for the entrepreneurship program.
That's killer. That's killer that
Yeah,
you're doing that, but it's also killer. I didn't know that existed. So tell me
yeah.
about that.
I say the kids, the students, they're pretty sharp. The students I mentored last year won the competition for their pitch night, which was super neat. So we're working hard again to try to see if we can do back to back winners. But they did a great job. They have an awesome plan. If we can help them get that going, that'd be good for them. Start a little business would be nice. But I love the business community here. It's super neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. And even again, just making me think of, California versus Texas. I don't think I ever heard the idea that a school in California, public school at least, would have an entrepreneur division, that's kind of like anti what they do over there. And here it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we want to encourage this, which is just really special. And I feel like that's true of the area when I even talk about the people. The amount of entrepreneurs here with like positive mindsets, wanting to grow, wanting to build, you just don't feel that in a lot of places around the country.
Yeah.
And it's really, really special. So that's so
Cool.
cool that you do that. I love that.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah. So tell me, any closing thoughts from you, Greg? Or anything you want to say about your business or how people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just leave the phone number here, and if somebody wants to call, we will definitely take care of them. Our phone number is 512-829-6095. We have Williamson Tax and Bookkeeping and Williamson CFO. We help our clients build the business of their dreams. It's really what it comes down to it. And then after that, after you start making some money, we help you keep it away from the IRS and keep it in your pocket. And I think that's the big thing about us. It's we care about people. We want to help people. We are focused on growing their business and on the business side, but it ultimately comes down to the owners of these businesses and creating a future for them that they didn't have before. We want to be a part of that story for them.
Yeah, no, that is so great. And this is exactly what people need, these business owners. I can tell you from having been one without you, Greg, in California, I wish I had you or somebody like you. So people should definitely be reaching out and to get this help.
Thank you.
You do not just want somebody processing your paperwork. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Processing paperwork is not all you want. You need it. Like you said, table stakes.
It has to be done. It has to be done. Yeah.
That's not the only thing you do. Yeah. So
yeah, that's right. And thank you for having me on. Excuse me. My cough is still bad from the flu that's been going around, but thank you for having me on today. It's super fun to do this and be here. And I'm happy to help and continue this and bring new folks if you need it, or anybody else interested in learning more about our community, business community, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Anybody who's hearing this in the business community, feel free to reach out to me or Greg, and we can all get in touch. And that's my goal here, is to help the business community, really the community in general, but specifically the business community, which does help the broader community. So
that's super cool. And I'm super grateful to you, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Greg. All right,
Thanks,
everybody. See ya.